Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome in. It's another week of the Ravens Wrap Show. It's week number 6 of the NFL, game number 5 for your 3-1 Baltimore Ravens here on Comcast Beach TV and on Delmarva's Rock Radio, and the strongest Ravens signaled affiliate here on the shore, 93.5 The Beach. We're broadcasting from the Ravens Room, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City from the Blue Ox. Coming up, we're going to recap the 34-17 drubbing over the New York Jets. We'll preview the upcoming game against the Houston Texans. I'm Mike Bradley, former B101.7 jock, now up at 105.7 The Fan of Baltimore. To my left, former Baltimore Colt, all-pro safety, Bruce Laird. A hand for Bruce.
Thank you, baby.
To his left, editor-in-chief of Ravens247.com, voted Baltimore's best in Baltimore Magazine, Tony Lombardi. I expected to see more of a suntan.
I'm not saying anything.
From your trip, all right. And it's OC local, former Lehigh College player and entrepreneur, John Gehrig. Oh, young professional. Where was that?
Young professional man of the year guy.
Autograph.
You got autograph.
Yeah. This is the door prize, by the way. I usually charge for that.
For an extra $5, he puts his number in.
We want to thank our friends at Bud Light, FlyLady.net, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, also JC'stickets.net, a new sponsor as well, and G&G's. So, guys, let's get into it. 34-17 victory over the Jets a few Sundays ago. And let's start this segment with defense instead of offense because, guys, this was an old-fashioned Ravens win. I mean, here they score 21 points on 3 turnovers. Actually, they forced 5 fumbles, 3 turnovers for 21 points. That's the most of franchise history. I mean, this defense, I don't want to compare it to the 2000 defense. That was a special one of the best of all time. But this is very reminiscent of the way the Ravens used to win ball games, Bruce.
Oh, there's no question about it. And just the fact that they can score 21 points against the New York Jets, a team that's been in the playoff 2 years in a row, got to the championship game. And again, against Rex Ryan coming back to M&T Stadium, I thought it was very, very compelling that they did that to Sanchez. And the fact of the matter is the Jets have a very poor offensive line. They were without their center. It showed, and they just took advantage of it. The Baltimore Ravens came to play. They had the swagger. They had everything they needed, and they put it to the Jets.
150 total yards for the Jets, only 38 rushing, as Bruce just talked about. I mean, they had nothing going for them, Tony.
Yeah, I think what they did was they made the Jets very one-dimensional, and that's becoming easier to do against the Jets because they can't get it going on the ground. And what I like about what Chuck Pagano is doing is that he's figuring out where is the weak link on the offensive side of the football. They determined that Baxter, their center, that was filling in for Mangold, was the weak link, and they just went after that guy. And when you disrupt the play in the middle of the field, you can just tell from the way Sanchez was reacting and responding to the Ravens defense, he didn't want to be out there.
Yeah, he was done. And, to the Ravens' credit, I mean, they went after the weakness like you guys said. We talked before the game, it seems like forever ago now, but the Jets have really had an identity crisis this whole season. They're throwing the ball a lot more than they want because they can't run the ball. And the Ravens just came out and forced them to run, and they couldn't run, and Sanchez had just had it. Now, all that said, it's not going to be every week. In the last 2 weeks, the Ravens have 4 defensive touchdowns, 21 points, generated directly. I mean, not set up the offense.
High-scoring defense in the league.
Yeah, I mean, but the Ravens offense, 1 touchdown in the last 7 quarters. So, I mean, it feels great, 34 points, but they weren't offensive points. The defense was the offense.
Bruce, the first turnover in the game, Ed Reed's lined up over a slot receiver, which should have told Mark Sanchez something. But bottom line, Ed Reed coming in on a blitz, very like Palomalu in the game where the Steelers played the Ravens. It was very similar coming off the edge. Charles Suggs squeezed down. But bottom line, Ed Reed still getting it done at his age.
Mike, one of the best things about Ed, I mean, if he was a younger player, Sanchez's back is turned to him. You can see he could have just taken a shot, helmet and shoulder pads. But Ed is smart enough to come up over the top, realize where the football is. Now, this is true being a pro and understanding where you are on the football field. Coming up over, stripping the ball out. Instead of trying to blow him up, he's thinking enough to get the football out, get it on the ground, and it leads to a touchdown. Again, that's the difference between young players and players of Ed Reed's caliber that will go on to probably be first ballot Hall of Famers. He understands the game so well and gets it. That's such a big play. Because if he just hits them, it's just a sack.
Tony, I thought one of the great quotes Jared Johnson said, Rex Ryan created us, now he had to deal with us.
Yeah, he did. And he didn't do a very good job of it.
No.
But Bruce, to dovetail on what he said about Ed Reed, it reminded me of that play, goes back maybe to 2003, when he stripped the ball from Mark Brunell when he was with the Redskins, had the presence of mind to pick it up and run it in for a touchdown. It was a lot like that. In fact, he was trying to do it again.
Correct.
But I think you touched on it, Mike, when Terrell Suggs came down the line, that committed the tackle to him, and it left Ed Reed wide open, so that's the way it worked.
Absolutely. John, just real quickly, taking a look at this defense, they're getting it done, and Jimmy Smith, their first-round cornerback, isn't even out there. Again, sky could be the limit for this defense.
Yeah, I mean, a couple guys haven't been out there. So this is a situation where you have some second-string guys getting the reps, and that's only going to make your team stronger down the stretch. I mean, the bye's over with, so now we need guys to be able to play the rest of the season.
More of the Ravens Wrap Show next.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
What's going on?
We're giving Matt the NFL experience of a high-pressure field goal.
Look out! It's terrible, man!
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Hey, it gets easier. Really? No.
Welcome back. It is the Ravens Wrap Show from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. Continuing to recap the 34-17 win over the Jets on October 2nd, a bye week in between, guys, as we take a look back. And again, just to parlay on the defense, 3 touchdowns scored in that one. Again, that's a franchise record. That certainly set the tone. We talked about Jimmy Smith not being available for this game again. Kerry Williams, Bruce, with 8 tackles. Really good press coverage. The only time they were able to throw against him, as he said, is when he backed off. And he said he needs to trust his press coverage more. Because when he played it, he did a good job. I was concerned with some of the receivers. He came through with shining colors.
I tell you, I think what Chuck Pagano is doing with this defense, understanding that Paul Kruger is playing a little bit better and Terrell Suggs is obviously stepping it up so much earlier than he has been in the past. They're able to get pressure with 4 or 5 players. And in order to do that, and if you can continue to do that, you let your defense again play coverage. They can do man on one side, they can zone up, they can keep a free safety in the middle. They don't have to send the 6 players or more to put the pressure. And he's been able to do that, and it's giving a guy like Kerry Williams an opportunity to let himself play. And again, feel the game, let the game come to him in certain points. And remember, you don't have Smith. Now you don't have
and Chris Carr. Chris Carr wasn't available.
Chris Carr's all banged up. You're looking at some of those safeties mixing around. So he doesn't have all of his chess pieces, and he's able to play a great game of chess.
Your thoughts, Ladarius Webb, also a guy that's not very well known, Danny Gore. If you look at the tape, he actually had a pretty good game, like a fifth cornerback on Sunday.
Well, I think the key to being a good coordinator, whether it's offense or defense, is be able to understand the strengths of your players and putting them in position to make plays. You know, Bernard Pollard is a guy who's starting to make his presence felt a little bit more, and I think he's doing that because he's a liability in coverage, Bruce. But when you put him out there in those zones and mixing the man up and whatnot, I think that gives him some comfortability out there, and I think that gives him, as John would always say, his juju, so he can play a little bit tougher and faster to the ball. So. Yeah, I think it's all good.
No one wants to get hit by Pollard, that's for sure. So, I mean, the guy's a truck.
And John, what's special about that, because if they're ever going to get away from a situation of taking Ray Lewis off the field versus 2nd and 3rd and long, you have that dime situation, that 7 defensive backs. You can put Pollard in the box and feel like you still have another linebacker type. You don't have to be that big a guy. All you got to do is make plays. So if you're in the box, I did it in my career. If you're in the box, you just got to tackle. You may not, you may not get them for 2-yard losses. It may not be pretty, but if they go down and you're punting the football, you're doing your job.
And I tell you another thing, guys. I mean, you make a quarterback like Sanchez a little uncomfortable. You think about the game that the Ravens had trouble with Hasselbeck, who can process that information quickly, and he's typically not going to wait for guys to get open down the field. He's just going to get it out. Well, these other young guys, the last two games with Bradford and Sanchez, you just make them uncomfortable. You make them think, and in Sanchez's eyes, you could tell when they showed it on TV, he was done. So
he looked like he needed a binky.
Yeah, he was. He didn't want to be out there.
You know, you got the pet stores.
That makes your D-backs look better.
He was like a Rottweiler, pet that they throw in, and the dogs just chew it up. I mean, that poor guy hit the ground like 19 times. Never mind how many times he was sacked. He was on the ground. Yeah, John, you're right. His eyes were like big saucers, like, get me out of here. I'm done.
Yeah, so, a lot of times the secondary gets credit for what's happening up front. I mean, Sanchez did miss a couple open guys, but it doesn't matter if he's not hitting them. So, I tell you, it was just a dominant performance, like you said, Mike, about, from the defense. Scoring and hitting people and getting after it and just taking away the Jets and what they like to do.
And we talk about the change with defensive coordinators. Greg Mattison did a solid job, but clearly not nearly as aggressive as Chuck Pagano or Rex Ryan before him. In the 38 dropbacks that Sanchez had, for instance, ESPN stats saying that the Ravens blitzed at least one defensive back on 13 of Sanchez's 38 dropbacks. You talk about being aggressive. I know I watched some tape on YouTube the other day, and at one point they blitzed a corner and a safety. I mean, Tony, again, we're getting back to, as you like to call it, the DNA of this Ravens team.
It's true, because that's the way these guys like to play. And when they do blitz one of those corners or a safety, they're usually peeling off Haloti Ngata in coverage. Did you see him chasing down LaDainian Tomlinson on the screen? He almost caught up with him. So when you've got that athleticism on the front line, you can drop those guys back and drop them in the zone coverage that enables you to play all those games that Rex Ryan used to play. And Pagano is the kind of guy that he embraces this team, and he takes advice from his players, and his players will play to the wall for him, and I think that's good. And I think we're just getting started, folks, because we're getting some guys healthy, and they're going to come back. Jimmy Smith is going to be a lockdown corner. Kerry Williams is getting all this confidence. I heard Ozzie Newsome on Baltimore radio this week say that he was the most surprising player on the team, and they're already talking about extending his contract. So all good things, and I think John said it before. The bye came at a good time because we got some guys with experience that otherwise wouldn't, and some other guys getting healthier. It's going to be an exciting year, guys.
And guys, this game, most combined points scored with just one offensive TD. 51 points between the Ravens and Jets. It's unbelievable. When you played Rams defeated the Cardinals 42 points back in 73. But it was not a pretty game, and as Chris Collinsworth said, you'd have a better team. The offenses never took the field. More of the Ravens Wrap Show coming up next.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show, broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Hey, I want to thank our sponsors, Bud Light, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, also FlyLady.net, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, and our newest sponsor, JCTickets.net. And join us here for the Ravens Wrap at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill on 127th Street and get free raffle tickets for a chance to win a December trip to one of my favorite cities, San Diego, California, for two. The drawing is during the November 30th show here, plus there's weekly drawings for Ravens merchandise. And so the more shows you come to, the more chances you have to win. So we've got Ravens Roost 44 here, always a loyal crowd. Ravens fans to come down here on Delmarva.
Can I go back to San Diego on this show?
You know, yeah, man, I have to talk to I do. You know a little bit about San Diego.
I spent 2 years in San Diego. Let's all go to Coronado.
Hey, Bruce would be a great tour guide,
San Diego.
Former Baltimore Cobalt Pro Bruce Laird, Tony Lombardi from Ravens247.com, OC local Lehigh College player John Gehrig, a part of the panel as always. And guys, let's switch gears a little bit from the defense to the offense with the 34-17 win. The Ravens over the Jets back on October 2nd. And, you know, we talked about a couple of weeks ago in the St. Louis game how the Ravens talked a good game about coming out, being aggressive, and they sure were. They put up the most offensive yards in franchise history. But we were curious, okay, are they going to come out and, you know, continue to be aggressive or against a much better defense with the Jets? You know, would they tighten up a little bit? And Bruce, I mean, the Ravens came out like a throwing machine. Now, the numbers weren't great for Joe Flacco. Tried to go downfield like 6 times, you know, deep down the field, only completed 1 of them. But the point is that they're trying to be aggressive. They're trying to get vertical. It's a new day for the Ravens offense.
There's no question, and they have to be vertical, and they have some of the tools to do that. With the emergence of Torrey Smith, they got to go vertical, and they got to do more of it, and I love the way they did it. Now, it wasn't successful. It doesn't matter in this new NFL. You throw the ball up. I've said it over and over again. If it's man-to-man, he's open. In this league, if the offensive quarterbacks are seeing man-to-man coverage, they're believing they're open, throw it in the right spot and give them a chance to catch the ball. You throw it in the wrong spot, you can't throw it inside, you can't throw it short, but if you throw it to the right spot, it's usually going to be a pass interference call or completion. But what I really loved is when they got the lead and they realized, you know what, let's just pound the football. Jets couldn't stop the run prior. They ran 8 or 9 or 10 running plays.
10 or 11, yeah.
And Yanda was just pumped. He was looking over at the coordinator, Cam, and just going like this, run the ball, run the ball. And they did it. And I said one thing on Baltimore radio, if indeed a pass play went in that series, I would think for the first time the offensive line would have said, Joe, we're not running the play. Call something else. And I think that's what this offensive line needs to continue to do.
I actually think that they didn't do it soon enough. They were up 27-7. Your clock is your friend. I mean, I like what they did eventually, but I don't think they did it soon enough. Especially when you look at what the Jets were doing the previous few weeks. They were getting crushed on the ground, so why not go to that weakness? So I would like to see Cam Cameron do a little bit more of what Pagano's doing, focus on those weaknesses of the other team. I do like the downfield shots, and I do like the fact that a lot of that's getting on tape, and when more of that's on tape, it's going to open up the underneath stuff. And they just missed on a couple of those things. So, and I like the fact that Torrey Smith actually beat Revis a few times.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So, I mean, all that's good, but I wish they would have gone to the ground a little bit sooner than they did.
John, as a former offensive player, you know, and Ed Dixon was targeted in the first half, I want to say 10 times. They only completed 3. But clearly, you know, having a vertical stretch, showing the defense that, hey, we're going to go deep. We have the threat there. It opens up the Ed Dixons, the Anquan Boltons underneath. Again, it's a high-risk, high-reward, as you know, offensively, but all you need is maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most of those big plays to hit, and that's all you need in this league, or in a game, I should say.
Yeah, and what was happening early on, the first 3 times the Ravens, you know, touched the ball, pretty nice drives, and they were taking advantage of some mismatches with linebackers and safeties, and really just Joe was hitting the right guy. And then all of a sudden something changes, and they don't complete a pass for a couple quarters, which in the NFL, I mean, come on. Cam Newton's coming out of nowhere and complete.
Wasn't it like 35 game minutes or something
ridiculous like that? I mean, we went 0 for 10.
Yeah, I mean, so it was. I agree with Tony. At some point with this offensive line, you got to get these guys in a groove. I mean, and really just pound the other guys. And when you get in the defense, when you get it into the defensive lineman's head that that this guy's dominating you, then you just take it right at the guy. And that's what Yanda was probably feeling. Yanda's like, I'm killing this guy. Let's go.
Well, that's exactly what I heard too. That on the sidelines prior to them actually going to that Yanda of all people was getting a little ticked off the fact that they weren't going to the ground.
Let me ask you from the box, though, from what you saw with the Ravens in terms of their passing game, how did you think the Jets covered? I thought the Jets did a better job covering. I mean, I thought it was a combination of things going deep. You know, I thought the Flacco was, inaccurate a little bit. I thought some of the receivers could have made catches that they didn't. And I thought the Jets covered better than I thought. Like Eric Smith, the safety, not bad.
Oh, not bad at all. And again, when you take those shots, you're going to have that opportunity to have, whether it's a big play or a pass interference. And again, remember, these coaching staff talk to these players about every crew that's in there. They know the crew that's going to call pass interference versus some other thing. So all that stuff is considered. And Dixon drops some balls.
All right, we'll talk more about the Ravens-Jets, recap the game, and then look ahead. Coming up next, it's the Ravens Drive Show on Comcast Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Clearly.
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
On the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Come see us at Blue Ox.
Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Continuing to talk about the Ravens' 34-17 win over the Jets, guys, as we, also give our quarter poll grades. The Ravens 3-1, and I think with, you look at 20 new personnel members of a 53-man roster. We talked about Black Monday on previous shows where Derek Mason and Willis McGahee and Kelly Greg and Todd Heap were let go. And for the Ravens to be 3-1, heading into the bye and now coming off the bye with a home game against Houston, guys, that's huge. Give us your thoughts and your grades on all the positions.
Well, first of all, it's
all the positions. Well, I mean, we can combine it however you want to do it.
Well, first of all, to be 3-1, to be 3-1, I think is fantastic, and I think the fact of the matter is, and I was one of the first ones to say, I thought we were going to be missing Todd Heap, and again, you won't know until the end of the year what production that Dickerson and Pitta end up with. But to give up, you're going to have to make up 7 to 10 touchdowns at least. That Todd was able to give in so many catches. I think that will be okay. But to be 3-1, and again, understand the Jets aren't the Jets that we thought they were. Pittsburgh isn't the Pittsburgh that we thought they were after we played them, and that's what this league is. This league is a schizophrenic league. It's paranoid schizophrenia across the league. Every week somebody else is in or out, and I'm just pleased to heck that we're 3-1.
Yeah, I think, if I had to make grades, I'll do it just offense, defense, special teams. Offensively, I give us a C+. I think we're still defining our identity, and I think we're going to get there. I think there's C+ with a bullet up because I think there's a lot of potential upcoming, and I think we'll see that as the season unfolds. Defensively, I'll say A-. I think there's some work to do in the secondary, but I think they've been really, really good, and I like what Chuck Pagano has put in place. Special teams, I'm going to say probably a C. I think they're still getting adjusted to these kick rules, and their coverage teams are one of the worst, I think, in the league right now.
And again, they're mixing and matching parts. David Reed's out, so they've got Laquan Williams.
I get that, but a C. But they need a lot. They need the most improvement.
No, I agree with you.
Three groups.
Yeah.
Big John.
I say I'm going to do this.
Picture, by the way.
That's right. I was always a pretty.
How young and professional.
I was always.
He gets an A+.
That's right. I say everybody's got I give an overall grade of, say, a B, but with a surprising B for the offensive line, which I think bullet up for them. I think they're coming along pretty well. I think Flacco is a C. I think the defensive line is an A. But 3-1 and a tough stretch of schedule, and really the Houston Texans coming up. That's not an easy task either. But I tell you another thing. We've been pretty fortunate. I give an A to luck, because we faced a lot of teams with a lot of injuries.
Right.
And now, granted, we have injuries too, so it comes with the territory. But coming up here with the Houston Texans, they're just decimated all of a sudden. And, but this is still a tough team with one of the best running backs in the game. So overall, I think a very solid B, probably B+.
Tony, you talked about the offense trying to find its identity. I'm curious because the way the game's set up against the Jets, and clearly from a passing perspective, they wanted to do better in terms of scoring touchdowns and completion percentage. That's obvious, and the hope is they'll obviously get there, especially with Lee Evans being out, David Reed, those guys coming back. But it seems like the formula, and I think the Ravens have been trying to do this the last couple of years, but coming out, opening it up, going 3-4 wide at times, throwing the football the first half, maybe into the third quarter, and then once they have the lead, then pound the other team into submission. Is that where you see the offense headed?
Well, I like to see the offense headed just like the defense is headed, where Chuck Pagano, as I said, he's focusing in on the weaknesses, and the Ravens have a lot of tools, and you just mentioned those tools, and they're developing some more, and Torrey Smith and Ed Dickson and Dennis Pitta, and they've got Vontae Leach, a guy, the best fullback in the league they brought, and you really have underutilized him so far. I think you use those talents against the team depending upon the matchup situations, and I think they've got a lot of players to do that with.
And Tony, let's really be serious about the fact that this is the National Football League in 2011. The wideouts, and you look at the teams that are moving the football. I mean, you look at Buffalo, you look at all these teams. You're looking at the Baltimore Ravens, they got Ray Rice and Dickerson with more catches than the wideout. The Bolden is 15 catches, and the other two guys have 16 in the week 4. We're going to need a lot more production out of these wide receivers if indeed, as we go down through the league and through the schedule, to be more productive offensively. This is a year you're going to see unbelievable amount of scoring, and we've seen it in the first month already, 5 weeks of the season. People are lighting it up. And again, I'm not buying the fact that if you put so much pressure on certain quarterbacks, they can't do the job.
To parlay Bruce's point, John, let me ask you, though, you could also make the argument that those receivers are opening up underneath for the Ed Dixons and Ray Rices of the world.
Yeah, I mean, stretching the field now is certainly going to help. We talked about that. I mean, but, Joe's leaving plays on the field, and there have been some drops, but, I mean, he's processing information slowly. The pick 6 against the Jets, Dixon, I think it was wide open. 10 yards away. All he has to do is just be able to see it.
And the same sight line almost.
Same sight line. I mean, he was wide open. I just really question the processing of information. He looks skittish with happy feet. He's looking behind him when he's under pressure. There's pressure that wasn't even there sometimes. So, I think when the quarterback play gets a little better, obviously the receiving play is going to get a little better. So, and sometimes you just have to let the ball out there. You got to be like Mike Wallace and Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger, he just throws it and lets Wallace go after it. And when you try to make that perfect pass, like a golf shot, how you come up short of the green. And are we done?
More of the Ravens Show next.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back in the Ravens Wrap Show for the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway at Ocean City on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio 93.5 The Beach. Want to thank our sponsors, Bud Light, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, FlyLady.net, the Blue Ox, the Green Turtle, and our newest sponsor, JCTickets.net. And folks, here's the deal. Join us here for the Ravens Wrap Show at the Blue Ox in Ocean City, 127th Street, and get free raffle tickets for a chance to win a December trip to beautiful San Diego, California for two. The drawing's coming up on the November 30th show. Plus, we have weekly drawings for Ravens merchandise, so the more shows you come to, the more chances you have to win. And speaking of Ravens merchandise, John, you're going to draw our first winner for some Ravens stuff here.
You're not going to cut me off, right?
I'm not going to cut you off, yeah.
You're the man, John.
I guess you didn't like my point. All right. The winner is...
He didn't make his point.
Get to your point.
Short soundbite.
Everybody knows what my point is, but that's what my wife says. All right. The last three digits. 433. Winner.
Here we go. Winner.
Even his dartboard.
Nice. That's good for the bar.
That's right.
And you know what you can do?
Hey man, what happened to Rex Ryan foot massage? Coming out next.
But you know what you can do? You get a cutout of Ben Roethlisberger's face and put it on there, and throw darts right at it. So you're good to
Or
go.
you could trade with another winner. You never know.
I know you're eyeing that San Diego trip. I don't think we're allowed to participate. But
I know.
anyway.
I'm just sneaking in someone's luggage.
You going?
I'm going.
I'm going.
Why not?
Yeah,
I'm going.
I'm hanging with you. I'm going to Coronado.
Yeah, absolutely. I can get us some.
I think there's some other bars he knows about too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a topic probably off the air or for another day. We'll do that during the radio segment.
We're in a bar. We're in a bar.
Well, Well, we're on TV though.
That's true.
We are? Yeah.
And I was never in a bar. I've never been there. Don't even know anything about it.
We're in year 4. Yeah, we've had some changes, Tony. I don't know where you've been.
Wow.
But guys,
Tell me that light is up there.
Yeah.
The light I tried to go through.
Time to take a trip around the NFL. First, the AFC North, guys, and who would have thunk it? I mean, of course, the Ravens 3-1. We know that they're off to a great start in first place, but you got Cincinnati at 3-2, Pittsburgh at 3-2, Cleveland at 2-2. I understand, since he hasn't necessarily played a lot of tough teams and all that, but still, they're starting a rookie quarterback, a brand new offensive coordinator. This division actually looks like one of the better divisions, at least so far, in the NFL.
This division is the better division of the entire NFL in the quarter mark of the season, no question, after 5 weeks. And I'm telling you, I'm surprised about Cincinnati, and I'm surprised about Cleveland. I'm surprised about both those teams. I don't care. In this day and age, rookie quarterbacks, Cincinnati has 6 or 7 first-round picks on defense. He's growing that. They're playing solid. They're in the mix, and don't pull them out. And my favorite guy, Perry Ellis, better known as Peyton Ellis. Peyton was from Cleveland, doing well. I'm telling you,
he's the Madden cover guy.
Wow. He's the guy.
Well, and the curse continues. A little sore throat. I'm gonna decide that we'll call it a day because I want a new contract.
Well, he talked about Andy Dalton, and I don't think I've ever seen hair quite as red as that. He's got some red hair.
They call him the pistol, I think, something like that.
I would have another name for that. But anyway, the thing with Andy Dalton, he's shown a lot of poise. He's done a really nice job. You can only play your schedule. They're 3-2, and I would argue that even throwing in Marvin Lewis here as a defensive coordinator, this is his best coaching job he's ever had or he's ever done, because he's getting these young guys to play, and when you get young guys to play like this, they get confidence and they play better as the season goes on. So you look at Cincinnati before the season started, you said WW, not so much anymore. You got to play those games.
And Jerome Simpson and A.J. Green, I mean, those guys are legit.
A.J. Green's having a big year.
Yeah, the wide receiver position, and the defense is one of the top-ranked defenses in the league. I mean, go figure. So I'm not buying in on those guys quite yet, but not bad. No team under 500.
What a surprise, though, huh?
Oh,
I mean, when you look at those teams going in, especially Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. Because let me tell you something. You cut off the head of anything in most situations, and you've got a better chance of winning. I mean, Marvin has the Brown family. He's had them for years. They'll never, ever get there. I mean, they may get there every once in a while, but they'll never stay.
No.
They'll never stay for a long period of time.
Guys, quick thing. It's kind of interesting. I was listening to a Cincinnati radio station earlier this week, and a guy said he had too much time on his hands on a plane flight. He came up with RED, a running efficiency differential, and it broke down each team in the AFC North, how many yards per carry they're rushing for, and what they're giving up defensively. The Ravens 1.1, so they're averaging more than a yard a rush compared to what they're giving up. Cincy was 0.8 as they're rushing more than giving up. Pittsburgh, though, surprisingly, -0.3. They're -3 because they're giving up 4.6 yards a carry. That's unheard of with a Pittsburgh defense. And then Cleveland, they're giving up 4 yards a carry. Not a big surprise, but it's kind of funny. In order there, that's the division right now as it stands. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
That's even after this last game.
Yes, correct.
And the Steelers picked it up a lot this past game.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
ran the ball effectively.
Exactly. So kind of interesting to see about that.
But affecting that was Arian Foster, who ran. Am I getting cut off again? Arian Foster, who ran all over the Steelers. So, I mean, we have to deal with that this week.
We'll pick it up from there. More of the Ravens Wrap Show coming up next on Comcast Beach TV at 93.5 The Beach.
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
JC Tickets provides first-class trips to Ravens road games, including airfare, 4-star hotels, game tickets, and cocktail parties. We also help provide great seating locations to all Ravens home games. JC Tickets, where the games begin. Visit us at jctickets.net. Win a trip to San Diego for 2 when you attend the Raven Wrap Shows at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill on 127th Street. Get 1 free raffle ticket for every show you attend, Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Drawing is during the November 30th Ravens Wrap Show.
What's going on?
We're giving Matt the NFL experience of a high-pressure field goal.
Look out! It's terrible, man!
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Hey, it gets easier. Really? No.
And welcome back. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beach. Mike Bradley, Bruce Laird, Tony Lombardi, and John Garrick. I think we're household names down here by now, year 4. Well, you've been around 7 or 8.
I just found out we were on TV.
Yeah, that's right. We're on the man cave here. The Ravens man cave here at the Blue Ox.
Talk a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, John. We're going to pick up quickly with our trip around the NFL. So, well, let me ask you. We'll go around real quick. I know we talked a little bit earlier in the week. Philadelphia Eagles. I have to bring this up. The dream team, and they didn't call themselves that, but the media did.
Yeah, they did.
They
did. Vince Young.
Well, Vince Young did, but okay. But I mean, it's not like the entire team. But the point I'm getting at is there a team during the time that you played that was hyped up as much as this Philadelphia Eagles team that never came to fruition? Is there one team that sticks out for you?
Well,
it's what a disappointment they've been.
I'm dead serious. The team I played with in 1982, the San Diego Chargers, with their offense, Dan Fouts, Eric Coryell.
Right.
I mean, the defense was okay, but very, very average. But what they could do offensively, we really thought that was our year. I mean, we were rolling through the league. In fact, when I was playing there, we played the old Baltimore Colts. I mean, the original Baltimore Colts. I was talking to my guys on Thursday. They didn't even know who we were really playing. I mean, they didn't care. It was just a matter of going to work and, oh, who do we got this week? And 34, 38, 41, 34, 30. We just scored points after points after points.
No. Well, guys, we've got a game coming up against the Houston Texans bye week. Probably a good one for the Ravens. A lot of injuries to some key guys, so a chance for them to rest up, get back at it. You've got a Houston team it's one of the better ones in the AFC. It's a home game. It's 4 o'clock game. We'll start with the offense, and John, we'll start with you and go down the line. You know, Wade Phillips, new defensive coordinator for Houston. That defense is, I believe, ranked 7th. They were like 31st last year. So he has a history of changing defenses around and taking them to a much higher level than where they've been before. They're going to be out without Mario Williams, pectoral, but they've still got a pretty good front seven that can get after it there against our O-line. I think they're going to be up for a challenge on Sunday.
Yeah, they're 4th in the league in sacks. I think they have 15 or so, but Mario Williams has 5 of them. I mean, so that is a huge, huge loss.
No
you
doubt.
take Andre Johnson off the other side of the ball, and now Mario Williams, off the defense. And that, I mean, it's fortunate for the Ravens, really unfortunate for them. Houston is really one of the better teams in football. And when going into the season, you look at this game and you're thinking that the Colts are not going to, the Colts are going to be the Colts. This was going to be, you have this game circled, on the schedule as a potential wild card, tiebreaker type game. Now it looks like they're running away with that. They're not running away. It looks like they're the better team in that division. But this is, a lot of times, Bruce, these teams that have big injuries, they rally. And, so we cannot take it easy. Even without a Mario.
No question about it. I think this football team, again, as Tony and Mike were both talking about, you watch the Baltimore Ravens. And I think Harbaugh's worked this in to the coaching staff and the players. Team of progress. Every week, get better. Every practice, get better. He wants to instill that fact and the fact that they have a history of going to the playoffs. This team has won 37 games at home under Harbaugh, with Joe. So, they're going to use the M&T, they're going to use the bank, they're going to use all that home field advantage, and they got to gather it. And I think, as we say, what's their identity? Who cares? Pass, run, it's going to be win, baby, win. Yeah. It's going to be the Al Davis thing.
Well, Tony, and that's a great point with identity. Tony, you talked about the offensive line still having to come together and gel when we gave out our grades, and no question that's the case. We talk about what Houston brings defensively. Again, Mario Williams, that's a huge loss, but still, J.J. Watt, the rookie, Sean Cody, Antonio Smith, they still have, D'Amico Ryans, Brian Cushing. They have still some pretty good ball players out there. Is this the time now, we're in week 5, you think that they do take that step and we start to see consistency from here on out?
Well, I think now that you've got 4 games under your belt, you've got that bye week, you've had some more time to try to get familiar with the guys that you haven't played a lot with alongside of you. I think, yeah, this is that time. And I think, when you talk about the guys like Mario Williams being out, you take a big guy like that out of your defense, then all the guys that are contributing in other ways, those 2 guys that are assigned to take care of Mario Williams can now free up to take some of these other guys out of the equation. And so I think it's more than just losing the 5 sacks. I think it's about their whole defensive scheme in terms of how they defend the pass. I don't think they're going to get after the quarterback as well at M&T Bank Stadium, and I think that with if Lee Evans is back, I think that puts more pressure on their secondary. So a lot of things can happen in this game that I think you haven't seen from the Ravens so far.
One of the guys that we've seen the Ravens that is in the AFC North over the years, Jonathan Joseph, one of the Houston Texans pick up. They also have Kareem Jackson from Alabama, Jason Allen, former Miami player. So they've got a decent secondary back there. I don't think their safeties are as good, but I think they have a chance to do some things offensively against those guys, John.
I mean, I think they're ranked 6th or so against the pass and 12th against the run. So, traditionally it's going to be easier to run. And really, we need to get Ray Rice more involved. I mean, talk about identity. He's just, against the Jets, he had 1 touch in the first series. I think 1 or 2 touches in the second series. He just needs more touches. And it goes right back to the offensive line. Really get the offensive line engaged in part of this thing. Pass blocking. These offensive linemen, they like run blocking a whole lot more than pass blocking.
Well, we'll talk more about the Ravens and Houston Texans coming up as we preview the game. 4:05 M&T Bank Stadium. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here. Ravens Risk 44 with us at the Blue Ox. Comcast, Beach TV and 93.5 The Beach.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill. Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome back. It is the Ravens Wrap Show here for the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. We're brought to you by our friends at the original Green Turtle down the street, our old digs, our new digs, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, also Bud Light, the Ocean City Golf Club, G&G Outfitters, Ravens247.com, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, FlyLady.net, and JCTickets.net, our newest sponsor here. And folks, you want to come down because you have a chance at winning a trip to San Diego for 2. So the more shows you come to, the more tickets you get, and we'll have a drawing at the November 30th show. Before we get into the breakdown of our offense, or excuse me, our defense against the Texans offense, passing away of Pat Modell here in the week. Just briefly talk about her and what she meant to the organization and Art.
I mean, you know, the matriarchs of the game, the guys that started this league, Art Modell came into the league, borrowed money, $5,000 or $10,000 to buy the Cleveland Browns in 1961. He was a player's owner. He was one of the dearest men that I've ever been around. And his wife was kind of the same kind of person. Really cared. It was a family business. They started it that way. They cared about their players. They did more things for Jim Brown and many, many others when they were around. And he came to Baltimore and just brought that family business and that atmosphere. And from a retired player's perspective, I want to reach out to the Modell family and tell them how much we're going to miss Pat. She was an advocate for the retired players in the National Football League, the men that made this game, the guys that have been getting screwed for a long, long time. So on behalf of all of us, I wish the Modell family our deepest sympathies.
Well said.
And our thoughts and prayers, too, a few weeks ago with Orlando Brown and his passing as well. Former Raven apparently had some diabetic issues that he didn't know about and sadly passed away a few weeks ago as well. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Brown family. Guys, switching gears, taking it up here, the Houston Texans. You take a look at this offense and you see Andre Johnson. I know he's not going to play in the game, but Andre Johnson, Jacoby Jones, Kevin Walter, Joel Dreesen, Owen Daniels, Arian Foster out of the backfield. You see a passing team, yet this team has been able to run the ball and run the ball at will. And a couple of weeks ago, it's against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they absolutely shoved it down their throat. And you don't see that against the Pittsburgh Steelers every day, guys.
No, you never do. And Pittsburgh's been in that situation, never giving up more than 75, 80 yards per game.
Last year, they averaged 65
per year. And John, this is a football team. It's a hurry-up offense. But with Foster and the running back, they're averaging over 130 yards on the ground.
Yeah, this is really a running team. Arian Foster last year, and ironically, they draft Ben Tate, local kid.
Local Snow Hill, Stephen Decatur guy.
They draft Ben Tate. Ben goes down last camp with an injury, season-ending injury. And if Ben doesn't go down, we may never know who Arian Foster is.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Wow. And now Arian Foster had a hamstring injury. He's finally back. Actually, the Pittsburgh game was his first game back, and then Ben Tate goes down, and then Arian had to carry the load, and then he torched so Arian Foster's back, and Arian Foster's one of the best, most complete running backs in the game, and the Ravens need to play with discipline, and they need to tackle. If they don't tackle, we're in for a long, long day. This guy's special.
Tony, our run defense, though, one of the tops in the league, as always. Terrence Cody adds to it. Arthur Jones, Pernell McPhee, guys can get after the passer, too, but I still think they're going to challenge the Ravens a little bit and see if they can truly stop the run. Because if you can run the ball against the Steelers, why not try it against the Ravens? They're just as good. I still kind of see that attack. They still have a lot of weapons in the passing game, but I see Houston more of a balanced attack than maybe coming out and just trying to throw to open up the run.
Yeah, I would argue, though, that the Ravens are a whole lot better than the Steelers against the run this year, so I don't know that really is a fit. But I will say this, that I think this is a really good matchup for the Ravens because, like John said, they are a run-first team, and they don't have the vertical weapons right now with Andre Johnson being out. And I think when you don't have that to worry about, the Ravens have a nice way of compressing the field, making it a smaller field. I think it's going to be a long day for Arian Foster.
One of the concerns, Bruce, though, with the Ravens, if you had to point out a weak link in the defense, it would be, I'd say, the linebackers and pass coverage for the most part. They've got a couple of really good tight ends, Owen Daniels, Joel Dreesen, and even their fullback, if he plays, James Casey, is kind of like an H-back as well. Those are mismatches that Houston has, I think, in their advantage.
And you're so right. If they can take advantage of that, if they can get in those situations and using two tights or putting that, as Casey goes back to the fullback spot. And again, what you do is set up like a run type of situation and throw the football off of it. And again, with the hurry-up offensive shot, it'll be interesting to see how they really attack the Baltimore Ravens, because we're getting a lot of people back healthy. So we're going to see exactly what Chuck has to offer putting personnel out there.
It seems to me, guys, we got about 60 seconds left in the segment. It seems to me that, much like in the Pittsburgh game, it's kind of going to be a battle of first down. If you can win first down and make them predictable in second and third down, that's a win. But if they're able to rush for 4 yards or more on first down or throw whichever one, then they've got the advantage.
Yeah, and when you shut them down on first down, you take away that hurry-up offense, too, because they got to huddle up if they're in bad down and distance situations.
And Arian Foster also is potent in the passing game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the guy can catch the ball. He does everything. And missing Andre Johnson, they're going to miss him big time. So we will be able to compress the field, but we have to tackle. Blocking and tackle.
They still have Jacoby Jones, but everybody else after that underneath route runners, so that's to our benefit. More of the Ravens-Texans preview. Also, we'll get our predictions as well. Final segment of the Ravens Wrap Show coming up next on Comcast Speech TV. And that's
Are you embarrassed to invite people to your home to watch your favorite football team? Well, don't worry, because you're not alone. FlyLady.net is the support you need. Join us and our more than 600,000 members and learn how to crush the clutter and game plan your way through routines that'll help you organize your home and your life. Tackle clutter and get your home game day ready with FlyLady.net.
G&G Outfitters, Inc. is a premier full-service in-house provider of branded merchandise and marketing solutions. With over 20 years of proven experience, G&G continues to successfully produce branded merchandise for some of the world's leading corporations, associations, and teams. From start to finish, G&G Outfitters is your single-source, one-stop partner for promotional products, logoed apparel, and all of your branded needs. For more info on the services and capabilities of G&G, visit ggoutfitters.com or call 301-731-2282.
Come see us at Blue Ox.
What's this all about?
We're giving Rich the NFL experience of a goal line dive.
Really?
There's an easier way to get an ultimate NFL fan experience. Just snap the tag wherever Bud Light is sold and you can win. Bud Light in the NFL. Here we go.
Can I make it?
Over the internet, yes. Into the end zone, no.
Segment here, Ravens Wrap Show from the Blue Ox, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. A hand for Ravens Roost number 44 out here as well. Feeling good. 3-1 coming off the bye week. The Texans coming up 4:05 at M&T Bank Stadium. The 4 o'clock game, obviously a game that the NFL or the TV networks think is going to be a good one. It still will be, but Andre Johnson, Mario Williams not going to play for the Texans. That's certainly an advantage. Guys, as we get back to it, we've been talking a little offense. We've been talking a little defense. I'll go back to their offense and stick with that for a second. And we talked about their the weapons that they have outside of Andre Johnson. You know, I still think, you know, it's going to be a challenge. I don't think we see the secondary making strides, but I don't think still with the lack of experience from Makari Williams and even with Ladarius Webb still learning the position, Bruce, you can't sleep on any receiving core no matter how strong or how weak they're perceived to be.
No question about that. You certainly cannot. But I mean, without Johnson in that thing, that strike guy, I mean, he averages over almost 100 yards receiving every game. He's been there. Chuck Pagano will be able to mix and match some of his personnel and take away some of the things they like. Now, the mismatches you're talking about, the tight ends on our linebackers and our nickel and dime, we'll see. But again, we're right back to the same situation we always talk about. You control 1st and 10, get them in 2nd and 7+, and you really control the football game if you control the football. That means no turnovers.
Guys, I have to ask you, we look at the Ravens, they've been successful getting after the passer against weaker offensive lines. Now, the one time they didn't, where they got 0 sacks, was Tennessee, who's got a above-average offensive line. Houston's got a very solid line. Taking a look, I think their youngest guy has got 4 years experience in the league. They're big, they're a veteran, they're experienced, a couple of Miami guys. Can we get pressure on an above-average offensive line?
Well, I think it boils back down to what you can do in 1st down again. If they can set up play action, we may be, we're going to face a long day, a long afternoon, but I still think we're up to the test. But, when you look at the Ravens defense and you look at what they've got compared to last year, coming off the bye week, this team's really well prepared for under John Harbaugh. And if you look back at last year's game, I think the Texans played on a Thursday night in Philadelphia, then they were home Monday night, so they had like a 13-day gap there, or a 12-day gap there. They were well rested for the Ravens. Right. If you remember, when they went that no-huddle offense in Texas, the Ravens just were dog-tired. I think there's a completely different set of circumstances here for this game. You're at home, coming off a bye. I think that all those things play in the Ravens' favor.
Well, I think, Andre Johnson is a matchup nightmare, and basically what you were talking about with the schemes that Mario Williams was going to force on the other side of the ball, that just frees Pagano up, not having to have that Andre Johnson. Jacoby Jones is just not special. So there are no special wide receivers. I guess outside of Arian Foster, you have Owen Daniels is, probably their number one. The tight end is probably their number one pass receiver. So you go from Andre Johnson to Owen Daniels, a tight end, and he's a solid tight end. But, it really makes his job a lot easier. I think the Ravens can get after the quarterback, but it's going to,
And, John, just that subway, it's going to be interesting to see if the Baltimore Ravens wideouts are going to break out. As a group, because our situation is quite the same. You got Ray Rice and Dickerson, both 16 catches in 4 weeks. And then Bolden with 15. And then you got Torrey Smith that's got 6. And then the rest of our wideouts have kind of been like, who are they? When are they going to come? Now we're taking shots, we're going vertical, but how much more consistent are you going to get out of the wide receiver play? Because overall, real quickly, our offense is just like average if you're going to do the numbers. If you do by the numbers, the league and our offense are sitting right there. Like 240 yards passing, we give up 111 yards running, all that's, we're just average in the league offensively.
No, I would agree with that. I think we're one of the more balanced teams, though. If you take a look at the New Englands of the world, San Diego's, they can pass the ball, but their running game, so
again, that's just by the numbers. The numbers can make a loser out of it.
We have one of the best offensive players in the entire game with Ray Rice, and he needs to be more involved. Period.
30, 35 catches. Touches.
Guys, quickly, we don't know if Chris Carr is going to play or not in this game, but Brian McCann, by the way, was picked up. He was on the practice squad, I believe, last year. Got back with the Cowboys, who drafted him initially, so he had some depth where you don't have to throw Shockey Brown out there. That'll help a little bit in terms of depth. And we talked about Danny Gore just a little bit in that Jets game. He did a great job against
Who was
the
that
Jets.
guy? Yeah, baby.
I don't know. But he played well in camp, but he'll see the field before McCann does.
No question.
Yeah, but we
have
have more
an emergency, but McCann will see the field as a returner in this game.
Well, guys, let's go down the panel here, break it down as to, we got about 60 seconds, how you think the game's going to play out in your prediction.
I think the Ravens will score 3 offensive touchdowns, which is 3 times more than in the last couple games. 27-17 Ravens.
Yeah, I think this is one of those matchup situations for Houston that's not going to work out well for them. Home crowd, the Ravens are 8-1 in the last 9 years after a bye, 3-0 with John Harbaugh. I think they've got like 21-5 with Harbaugh at home.
Yes.
So those numbers all work in their favor. It's a 7-point line right now. I think it goes higher. 30-13 Ravens.
Wow. Oh, baby,
30 seconds there. 30 seconds.
I tell you what, I'm going 28-14 Ravens.
We're hoping for consistency from the offensive line. The receivers, you bring up a great point. Lee Evans hopefully will be back. We can see that offense continue to evolve at a higher completion percentage for Joe Flacco in this one. But I'm going Ravens coming off the bye. I'm going to go 26-13 Ravens over the Houston Texans. That's it for Bruce Lair, Tony Lombardi, John Garrick. I'm Mike Bradley. It's been the Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rack Radio 93.5 The Beach. See you next week.
We'll be right back.
Ravens Wrap is brought to you by Bud Light, FlyLady.net, Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Ravens247.com, the original Green Turtle Sports Bar and Grill, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.